We're going to learn right now.
Right now.
We're really on the grid. Just kidding, we're off grid. Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one.
How long you been on YouTube?
We've been on YouTube for 7 years. I bet they didn't know that. So over 7 years.
But somebody that's been following you for 7 years probably knows everything about you.
No, not everything.
Not everything. You're hiding some stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. We'll answer that later.
What do you know
Don't tell them anything
about Dutch that we don't know?
Nothing.
Good answer.
All right, hey guys, this is Josh and Rachel here at Porter Valley Ranch, and this is part 3 of our Meetup series from the Southern Oklahoma Meetup, which was down in the Sulphur Davis area. It was hosted by Brandon and Stephanie at Rustic Woodwork and Family. So we want to thank them so much for putting that on. We actually had the opportunity to go down Friday night and help them set up. We got to hang out with them and get to know them a little better, and it was really cool to meet them. So you guys have been watching our videos. What you don't know is kind of the backstory on our meetup videos. This is our 3rd meetup that we've gone to. We actually went to another small get-together with the Arms family at the Okie Noodling Festival. So you could say it was our 4th meetup, and at the previous 3 we didn't film very much. We were not really comfortable getting our camera out and breaking up the flow of conversation or getting in people's face. It just didn't seem very organic or authentic to what we were doing. We also, over the last couple weeks, have realized that we have a responsibility to you guys as the viewers to share experiences with you that you aren't able to be at yourself. So through that, we went into this meetup intentionally asking 3 questions. We asked most of the channels there. We didn't get to all of them, but we got to most of them, and we asked them about their channel. We said, you know, what is your channel? When did you start and why? And so the channels answered that. The next question was, what is something that you watch on YouTube, like a guilty pleasure or something you watch just for entertainment that's outside of your genre? So we all fall into the homesteading or, you know, off-grid outdoor living gardening genre, somewhere in there. So we asked people to tell us something that they watched outside of that. We got some really interesting answers. And then the 3rd question was, tell the subscribers something about yourself that they don't know. So obviously we're looking for some pretty scandalous answers on this one. But in that, we realized that you guys probably don't know very much about us. So we wanted to take a second and just tell you a little bit about Porter Valley Ranch, about who we are, before we get into revealing what some of those really big channels have to tell you.
So the first question Josh asked everyone technically had 3 parts, and you saw him get called out on that a couple times. But part 1A would be, who are you? So we're Porter Valley Ranch. My name's Rachel. This is Josh. We've been married for about 17 years, and we have 3 sons, Zeke, Kai, and Jet.
So we started our channel about a year ago. The pandemic hit, and like so many businesses, we were shut down. We have a dance studio and a gymnastics gym and an event center, and our business was completely closed because of the government mandates. So we didn't really have anything to do other than sit around and worry like a lot of people. And we started pouring into our farm. So the reason it's called Porter Valley Ranch is because you see this area up on top of the hill a lot. What you don't see is about 13 of our 16 acres are off a cliff. They're down in a river valley on Polecat Creek. So we call it Porter Valley Ranch. One thing we started doing was building fences and expanding our usable property and bringing in more animals to our land. As we would do that, I would have questions, and my children would answer those questions based off of things that they learned off of YouTube. They were watching people like Hidden Heights and Arms Family and Keeping It Dutch, people especially who raised goats, because we raise Nubian ibex, which are similar to goats. And so a lot of that information came from YouTube. So in turn, we started watching YouTube to learn how to garden and how to better raise our animals. And through that process, we actually felt called of God that we should share our story too. At the time, we didn't really know why, but we knew that we just needed to start putting things down on, film and sharing them with the world, which is obviously a really scary thing, because you're opening yourself up to people you don't know. You're opening yourself up to criticism. But we started doing it, and what we found through that was that there was a community online that we never would have been able to reach without it. We started finding people all over the globe who had similar interests, who had similar struggles, and we were able to help each other through some of those problems. So that's why we started. Over the last year, we've put out over 100 videos. Some of them were successful, some of them were not. Some of them were great, some of them were terrible. But it's really cool to be able to go to these meetups and to meet people and talk to people who have gone before, you know, kind of been the trailblazers who have been doing this for a long time. They were able to give us a lot of information, a lot of helpful pointers and tips on what we should do, what we shouldn't do. And because of that, our channel has already grown just by implementing some of the things that they taught us and showed us.
Something your subscribers don't know about you that you're going to tell them right now.
A lot of them probably don't know that I used to be an outlaw. Yeah, I really did. I was an alcoholic at a young age, and you know, I was able to give it up. You know, once we had our first child, and just didn't want him to be raised up around alcohol and stuff. And from there, a lot of people don't know that we was actually homeless when we moved back down here. And I had reached out to a gentleman I've worked for before in the past, which probably 3 or 4 times I quit him, and he gave me another chance. You know, 10 years later, we stayed in a camper trailer and ran a firecracker stand for about 2.5, or yeah, I was there for about a month. And afterwards, he gave us, put us in a house and gave me a job, and was able to get up on my feet, and that's how we started our family.
Awesome. One of my favorite bands is Foo Fighters.
Good choice.
I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm a registered nurse.
Okay.
So that's actually what I do for a living.
And that's very handy when you are by yourself in the wilderness sometimes.
Especially if I cut my arm off or something. Yeah, it's a good thing to have to, you know, maybe put a tourniquet on, right? That's all.
I'm a cruise nut. I go on cruises. We've done about, all in all, we've done about 15 cruises. And since COVID, we haven't done any, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cruises are my biggest fear in life. Being stuck at sea with thousands of strangers makes me want to throw up.
Oh, I'd love it. Yeah, I'd love that.
Well, maybe someday
Just 4 days at
we'll
the
go on a cruise together and you can show me their ways, because I don't want to do it.
Hey, I'd do it. Trust me. We've tried to book a cruise this past weekend, but they wouldn't let us because I'm not vaccinated.
Ah, topic for another video.
Yes.
Don't like being in front of the camera, like, which you may know by some of my videos, but it was super awkward at first, like a lot of type stuff. I'm just not a person that likes being in front of a lot of people and talking and all that stuff. But she's a teacher, she's kind of used to standing up in front of 16, 18 people.
Doing it in front of kids though.
Yeah.
Being in front of kids is way different.
But, I mean, everybody on YouTube is just kids, right?
At one point, yes.
At one point.
Oh man, I used to drag race when I was a kid. I was a junior dragster for I don't know, started when I was 7.5. I used to race, so.
Awesome.
Boy, how much can you edit out if I pause for 5 minutes and think about that one?
I got time.
That I was the most shy and bashful kid. I never talked to anyone growing up. I didn't have a girlfriend until my first kiss was when I was 16. Like, I did not like girls. I didn't want to be in front of people. I was bashful and quiet and shy. And I mean, I just grew up in the woods, lived in the creek, and I wasn't the only child, but I was the only child at home. My brothers and sisters were older, so my parents were older, my dad was older, and I kind of stayed to myself and did my own thing, and would never have ever dreamed I'd be on camera or in front of a group of people.
All right, so question number 3. What is something that your subscribers don't know about you?
I used to be a drug enforcement agent.
Okay. What is it with former law enforcement and YouTube channels?
I don't know.
It's kind of strange because it seems like it'd be kind of a private...
I was an MP in the Army.
Yeah?
I worked drug team for the federal government, and when it stopped being fun, I retired, and I came into the civilian sector.
Wow.
I don't know that anybody actually knows, but everybody, you guys are the same way. Everybody wants to suggest animals because they'd like to see you get them and things like that. The biggest suggestion we get is horses. I wouldn't call it a fear, but I don't like things taller than me. And I'm just not.
Which takes a lot to be taller than you.
It does. But yeah, it's something about an animal, and I know my steers, we've got 2 steers, probably pushing 800 pounds. They could certainly level me. But there's just something about a horse being right here, and I don't know, I don't like it.
Afraid of horses.
Afraid of horses.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Now, not the. There's one roaming around somewhere. You may have on camera.
Man, I think Adler would love that horse.
Probably. But did you ask her how much that cost?
I did not. I didn't want to know.
I was gonna go halvesies with somebody and buy one for Moorhead Homestead, and then I found out what it costs, and I'm gonna need a loan from somebody. So.
Need to go quartersies, tensies.
Yeah, and I tell you how long does it take to get a horse that small? The breeding, the centuries of so.
Well, it would just take
cool
you
little.
once. It'd take you just a check.
Yeah. Just write a check for it.
I'll have to think about that for a minute.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to you.
All right.
You promise?
Yep.
You're gonna think about it.
Yep.
Because you're gonna reveal this to the world, and they're gonna know.
All right.
All right.
What is like your favorite food or shirt?
Or
Is that your favorite shirt?
what about your middle name? Do they know your middle name?
My middle name is Alan.
Allen. Jack Allen.
Yep.
Grow Jack Allen.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Something my subscribers probably don't know about me is I used to be a nurse for a very busy doctor's office, and I moved up in the company and became a manager of many different medical facilities and doctor's offices, and I was there at a major medical group for over 15 years.
So you guys own Arbuckle Wilderness?
No.
Because you just keep adding animals on, and you've gone from a farm to a zoo, is what it sounds like.
We're totally a funny farm.
Okay. There are many days that we wake up and I'm like, we have to stop because that's where we're headed.
Yes.
That I am a preschool teacher who works with like 1 to 3, 4-year-olds, and I have done that for 8 years now, and I love children to death. So
that's awesome.
It's a tough one, man.
It's tough.
That's a tough one. I'm thinking.
A couple people have pled the fifth.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. We're pretty transparent, man. I don't know.
It's a good way to be, right?
Yeah. I mean,
all right. They know everything.
Yeah. I put it all out there. I'm not scared.
So you don't play games, you just watch people that play games.
Yeah, I don't know, I kind of like, some games I will experience myself, but sometimes I like other people watching it and get the experience through them and the comedy through them because I like that.
Which, for people my generation, is the strangest thing on YouTube.
I totally agree. I don't get why the kids watch somebody else play a video game.
You can play a game, or you can watch someone else play a game, and you would prefer to watch someone else play a game.
Yeah.
Is it because you're afraid of failure?
No, that's definitely not it.
So at the meetup, one of the most memorable moments of the whole thing was probably getting to have lunch with, well, we sat down with Brandy and Rachel from Hidden Heights and Keeping It Dutch, and we had some great open conversation. All walls were down. Everyone was being super friendly, super realistic, super authentic. And Sean Dutch sat down and said, "What are y'all doing? What's your channel about?" You know, and he just cut right to the heart of it. And as much as that puts you on the spot, it really is what we all want to know. What are you here? Why are you doing this? And for us, it's been a journey of something that we're doing personally, and we think a lot of people are starting to do also. Doesn't mean you have to have 40 acres of flat land to bring animals in. You can look at your land and decide how to best use it, how to be the best steward of what blessings God's given you. And that's kind of the underlying theme of homesteading and making the most of what you have, is what you're blessed with, how can you steward that, and how can you give that back to God's glory. And so that's something that we've been questioning ourselves a lot about. And I think when we began this channel, we started thinking it was more about showing people how to practically use their space. But as we've grown and as we've learned and as we've videoed and we've planned the next show or the next episode, we've started learning, you know what, our heart in all of this is really to show you how we feel like God has given something to us and put us on this path, and we're trying to figure that out without knowing what the end of it looks like. But we're on this journey where all we can do is just obey and follow the next step. And that's something that we hope our viewers see us doing, because we don't have all of the answers, but we do know why we're doing it. And it's because we feel led to do it. We feel like God has blessed us with things to share and to use ministry through and to steward well. And that's really why we're here. So our end game, we don't even know, honestly. But what we're doing is obeying and hoping that's inspiring other people to do the same.
Yeah, for us, we've always been in control of a lot of our life. You know, we were both I was a performer, I was in a band, Rachel was a dancer, she went and danced at Cogar College in Texas, and we knew that if we practiced harder than everybody else, and if we worked harder and we planned diligently, that we could be successful. And then as we got older, we opened up businesses, small businesses, we were entrepreneurs, and we knew that we could control our fate and our destiny if we did a good enough job, if we planned properly, if we marketed well, if we advertised different things. And what the pandemic showed us is we have no control. God is in control, or the virus is in control, or when it comes to our farm, nature is in control. So we really have had a good lesson on letting go, which is really hard for both of us, especially me. But it's something that we feel like we need to pass along. I grew up, I was a preacher's kid. My grandpa's a pastor. We've got some videos coming out about both of them in the near future. But for me as a preacher's kid, I've always heard the Bible stories. I've always known about God. I've always heard him referred to as the Good Shepherd. And I never really knew exactly what that meant until we started raising sheep and goats. And we are now the shepherds, and we now understand that these animals are under our care, and they don't always know what is best for them, but we do. So their job as the sheep is to follow, and our job as the shepherd is to lead them and to take care of them, even when they don't know what we're doing or why we're doing it. So this journey of Porter Valley Ranch on YouTube is really a testament of our faith growing and us trying to raise our family to be something that carries on as a legacy of trusting God, using the resources and things at your disposal to follow and to serve God no matter what the circumstances, because we're not in control. And that's something that I think is probably the most important lesson and the biggest lesson that we've learned this year. And hopefully that's something that we can share with you guys as our journey on YouTube continues.